Howdy folks, my name is Brian Ellis and I'm really excited to show you all this tutorial of how to use the Motion into MIDI website along with Ableton to use your movement to control music. So as you can tell, the Motion into MIDI website does a bunch of pose detection where we identify different points on your body. With this information, we can then start to do a lot of different things with it. So one thing we can do here is like measure the distance between 2 points, right? So this is between my left wrist and my right wrist. If we wanted to do like the distance between my nose, right? You know, different things we can do there. We can also do things like get the XY data of my nose, like where it is, XY position, or we could say like my right wrist, how far one way or the other it is, or actually how high it is, right? Things like this. And all of this information we would love to send out over a MIDI CC channel. So that way it's the equivalent of, like turning a knob on your MIDI keyboard. If this is your first time doing this, when you turn it on, you might see this message that no MIDI devices are found. The way you're gonna fix this is you're going to open up Audio MIDI Setup and go to Window, Show MIDI Studio. Then double click on this thing called IAC driver and make sure you click Device is Online. Once you've selected that, you should be able to send information back and forth, and you can check that by refreshing the page and then turning on the MIDI, and you see this IAC driver bus 1 as an option there. You can also select different cameras if you have different webcams plugged in. All right, so we're now sending data. Let's make sure Ableton is able to receive it. So if you go into Live Settings, make sure here under MIDI that both track and remote are checked for IAC driver bus 1 on the input section, and that you have input selected here. Once you've done both of these things, Ableton will now be receiving the MIDI data. So let's go ahead and I'm going to make just drag in a couple of audio files here. These are just loops that if you play them sound like this, or if we just listen to one of them. Right, so 2 different audio clips, and we'll just loop that so that way we just hear that and it keeps going. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this control the volume of one of the tracks and have this distance control the volume of the second track. So if we open up our MIDI mapper tool here and we open up the MIDI map on this side, what you do is you go in and you press what you want to map, and then you click Send Pulse, and then it gets mapped here. So this is, you see 16 distance of my left wrist to my nose, now it gets mapped to 16 here, track volume. So now I can click on the second track volume here, come over here and click Send Pulse, and this pulse now gets sent, and that's now a second track volume. So now if I press, turn off the MIDI mapping here, you'll notice if I send this pulse again, this jumps up and down over here, and you'll see the same thing over here if I press Send Pulse. So it's working. So now if I go ahead and press play, all right, and so that's an example of how you can use the Motion into MIDI website with Ableton in order to turn your movement into sound. Thank you all so much.